Well, thanks for listening to the Junk Connoisseurs. You're here with Jordan, Alan, and Alex. I'm the one that's of Corvette age. I'm a man of a certain age. Corvette. What would your all's stereotypical car? It might be cool now, but might not.
I was going to say my stereotypical, and honestly Alan's as well, would be a minivan.
Oh,
we are men of that age.
Mm-hmm. I'll gladly claim
our
the
children.
Corvette.
We are men of that age with children of that age.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I, however, am a huge proponent of minivans.
Yeah. I'm strongly
yeah.
towards
They've gotten a lot better. I was going to say cooler, but I bit my tongue. They've gotten a lot better since the minivan was introduced, which was at such a time. I was at an age where I was very impressionable, and I hated them, and I vowed never to own one. So far, and I don't hold that same mindset anymore. I'd be fine with owning one,
and promises,
so far,
promises you make to yourself when you're 8 are binding.
So far it's holding up, but I know better.
Well, I do believe I was probably a little younger than 8, but I can't say that I have held true with the promises of youth, because at one point one of my dad's friends asked me what kind of woman I wanted to marry, and I said a rich one, and I married a school teacher. So anyway,
yeah, I have repeatedly had the thought that 15-year-old me would be just utterly disgusted at what 41-year-old me has turned out to be. You used to be cool, man. No, I didn't, but I did sell out pretty hard.
The good part about that is the current version is probably the better.
Yeah, 15-year-old me was a real.
Well, I didn't mean that. I just mean we think we know everything when we're 15, and you think that your 15-year-old self would be disappointed in you now, but we know better.
What 15-year-old me wanted was not very realistic or good. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Yes. What did 15-year-old Alan want out of the future, aside from the obvious things that are not podcast friendly?
Just not to sell out. And
so what were you going to be?
Wow, that wasn't on my radar when I was
the punk
15.
rock
that was
pro bono lawyer?
Lawyering was not even part of the picture. I became a lawyer just because I got out of college and what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Which
I have an MBA.
That's
that
how
way.
a lot of lawyers come to be lawyers. It's I got this humanities degree. What the fuck is next?
A few engineers turned salesmen do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you could fall back on engineering. You might hate it, but you could do it. I could not get a job that would pay the bills with a bachelor's in psych.
Yeah.
I mean,
I see that.
Yeah.
15-year-old me wouldn't have really known what a sellout was, nor how to avoid it. So you had lofty goals.
I did. As usual, I have fallen well short.
I don't know. You haven't sold out.
Dude, I'm a lawyer. There is no more sellout career than being a lawyer.
Okay.
You are literally enforcing and making sure people abide by the rules.
Okay. I stand corrected.
I mean, I have a few things I would say are possibly more selly outy, but once again, not podcast appropriate. The 15-year-old version of us were all really dumb.
We were dumb.
I mean, honestly, it's astounding anybody male survives to the age of 25. Even looking back at me, and I was not a particular risk taker. I'm should have died there, probably should have died there. And
almost died there.
Yeah.
Don't remember if I died there and was revived, but possibly.
Yeah.
Well, I had a fun weekend with cars. It was a Saturday, mostly just a fun Saturday with cars. I hit a Cars and Coffee on the way to do some work on some property, and then drove from there to a big Sonic cruise night that was a lot of fun. It was, it was quite the to-do. It was a big event.
Yeah, I saw some photos of it. Beyond the ones that you shared, some aerial shots. There were several hundred cars there, weren't there?
Yeah, it was a big deal. By the time I left, and I left before it was even starting. I just knew that there would be people there earlier, and I left before it was even technically starting. But it was a big deal. So it was fun. I took the old Fairmont wagon and got to cruise 3+ hours on some really fun, nice, some freshly repaved, resurfaced roads through the Ozarks. That was pretty nice. Not actually, I say through the Ozarks, near the Lake of the Ozarks, which really is barely
into the Ozarks.
Yeah, not really. Through the sticks and the oak forests.
That's always been extremely confusing to me because we started going to the Lake of the Ozarks as a child, and I was like, "Well, no, we're in the Ozarks," and then people are like, "No,
Sort of. I mean,
not really."
The extreme northern edge.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a fun weekend. Got to do some car stuff. Got to talk to a few listeners and got to introduce the podcast to a couple of people who I think probably will be listeners. So, thank you to folks who drive LS swap twin turbo Chryslers and
I think I've seen that thing somewhere.
It's around here.
and LS swapped, but not the LS you're thinking of. 53 Chevrolets. That was a Lexus LS 400.
I have one of those engines, and it has.
The 53 Chevy was a body swap situation, not an engine swap, but it is. He had to use two LS 400
Lexapodes.
And because the wheelbase of the Chevy was longer, so he got two LS 400s. And
Why wouldn't you just extend the pan?
Because this way, apparently, has unlimited supply of LS 400s. I don't know.
I mean, they were really cheap for a while.
Cutting a pan down is a lot easier than extending a stamped steel
Fair.
featured pan. That's
I guess yes. If you take, we'll go with little LS 400A, and you cut it at the basically where the pan kicks up for the rear end, and you take LS 400B and you cut it at the firewall, then you have a couple extra feet to.
That's where my imagination went. I don't know much about the architecture of the LS 400, but that seemed reasonable to me.
Yeah.
And that's not a reasonable project by any stretch, but it moved under its own power and was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I could see that, because then you can take the front and rear sections of the wiring harness and just extend them the same length. You don't have to. Yeah, that seems like a lot of work, but I've done all sorts of dumb stuff like that.
Yeah. Coming from Jordan, that's really saying something.
But this guy's drives, so kudos.
Yeah. So anyway, that was fun. Thanks all you cheese bags that met over the weekend, new and old cheese bags. So I believe Alan has prepared a topic tonight to talk about.
When you say prepared,
we'll use it loosely. You have picked out.
I have picked out a topic.
Okay.
This is much closer to a Jordan. Not all of Jordan's are rush jobs, but it's much closer to Jordan's occasional rush job than my usual, here's a history lesson. It's not the Honda Civic. I'll give you guys a freebie.
Well, that's good, because that would be a repeat, dumbass.
Yeah. It's gonna happen at some point. I can't remember.
I check every time. I go through the list.
I've accidentally picked something on the list in the last couple times I've looked at it. I'm like, nope, we already talked about that. Shit.
So I texted you guys earlier this week that I saw a Chrysler TC by Maserati. Did we do an episode on that, or was that just a side conversation?
No, that was like a 12-minute diatribe in the Pantera episode.
Well, when you said at some point we're going to do, somebody's going to pick a repeat and we're going to do it, and we're like, that can't be. There's no way that could be, we could do that. And then I saw this thing go by me in traffic. I'm like, wait, did we do a whole episode on that? Or was it just...
It was close to a whole episode. It was just buried inside of another episode.
Yeah. Which one was it? You said, but
Pretty sure it was the Pantera.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that makes sense.
It was Alejandro de Tomaso. It was the best and worst. Actually, it's not even the worst of Alejandro de Tomaso. We still haven't done the B-Turbo. And that was on my short list today to talk about that. So,
all right, so it's not a B-Turbo.
One off the list.
Yeah. It's not the Civic. It's not the B-Turbo.
It has to be an AMC Matador.
Old jokes.
Yes. Do we have any other?
Was that one that you always?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I liked it.
It's because it's a real shit box, and it's one of the ugliest cars ever made.
Yeah.
Like mass-produced, large
It's
quantity.
bad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
The
bad.
4-door's bad. The
Yeah.
2-door has a certain, like, I don't know. I swing back and forth between ugh and
Turtleness to it.
yeah.
Like
I
a
mean,
pacer that's just real big.
yeah, yeah.
Like you hook the helium up to it and it just kept getting
They
bigger.
just overinflated a gremlin.
Yeah.
AMC has some of my favorite looking cars and least favorite looking cars. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, they have some really cool looking ones.
You know what?
Yeah.
I could say the same for Dodge. So, or Chrysler, or some. What are they called? Plymouth.
Stellantis.
Now,
All right. So, should we get to guessing? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think you should.
trifectas, since that was where we started last week.
2 out of 3 ain't bad on the Alex trifecta.
Okay.
So,
1 for 3 on the JC
Ooh.
trifecta.
So it's a Chrysler product.
is it not V8 or is it not manual transmission?
It is not manual transmission.
Okay. So, automatic V8 rear wheel drive.
Probably a Chrysler.
Possibly a Chrysler. Possibly Lotus was involved. You
Or
said only
some-
one leg.
Or
was-
something that had an Iron Duke
Iron Duke.
as well as a V8. F-body? No, because you could get a manual in those. The 80s F-body. No, was that an Iron Duke? The 4-cylinder in those?
It was an Iron Duke in the 3rd gen F body. It's not the 3rd gen F body.
Yes, because of the manual thing. Yeah.
So, are we talking about a Chrysler?
We
Plymouth
are talking
project?
about a Chrysler product.
Okay.
Not a Plymouth,
Project.
but a Chrysler. And I'll tell you, it's a platform. I'm going a little wide angle on this.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be a short guessing game.
Well, that's good, because I've already run out of things.
Oh, wow.
It is.
This is a company I know.
It is.
Only things you've told me about.
V8.
It was.
Did it have a carburetor?
It was never carbureted. It was, or one nameplate on this, was the Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Okay.
Okay, but it was never carbureted.
It was never carbureted.
It's
They-
the Dodge Charger.
Told you it was going to be a short
Yeah.
guessing game.
Well, I mean, V8 rear-wheel drive, fuel-injected Chrysler products. Charger, Challenger, whatever.
Truck.
The what?
Truck.
There's a truck?
The Ram?
Is based on that platform?
No, but it is a V8
Oh, no.
rear-wheel drive Chrysler
but
product.
the Challenger and Charger are on very similar platforms. Maybe
So-
not in the context of this conversation.
Specifically, what we're looking at here is the LX platform, which is not the Challenger.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah. So
because
it's the
Challenger you can
300.
get a manual transmission.
Now, what are we talking
Right.
about?
I'd forgotten about that.
The Charger or the Challenger?
The Charger, the 300,
What are we talking about tonight?
the LX platform Chrysler,
Which is
the Charger,
the Charger.
the 300,
Okay.
the Magnum, the wagon you like that I showed you the other
Oh,
day.
this
that you can
newer
actually see.
version.
Yes.
This, which is a
2005 to 2023.
Mercedes
Sorta.
type thing.
It was the one good thing to come out of the Chrysler Daimler Benz lash up.
Okay.
So-
I was still thinking bright orange and purple cars and wings.
Apparently, he
and
missed
stuff
the
like
part
that.
where I said fuel injection, and you said,
Well,
"Yeah."
I did. You know,
Yeah.
at
And
that
also-
point, I was like, "How in the hell am I?"
You
gonna
can
come
you
up
can
with a
get these bright
Chrysler
orange and
product?
purple. They did do the throwback
that's
to that,
true. They-
where
yeah,
you
you're right,
you could
you're
get
right.
all the
Get
the
yourself
classic
a
muscle car colors.
purple scat
Trying
pack.
still so hard to get my head wrapped around what a Chrysler product is, but
There's just
Bear with
one in 12 cars on the road is just a hole in reality.
that's how Alan describes it. And yeah, I do like I do see some of the newer stuff, but yeah,
I mean,
which is weird because I don't see. Well, it's newer to me is still 20 years old.
Okay, Alex, how about this? How would you like to, in, I don't know, 5-10 years from now, how would you like to buy a used 707 horsepower rear wheel drive family sedan for 15 grand?
Ask me at that time, but there's a possibility that might be intriguing.
I will be thrilled if you can buy a Hellcat for $15,000.
In today's money, like
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just
assuming
saying,
like we'll call it 20 grand. in inflation land of 10 years.
Oh, you're talking
from
about
now.
a Hellcat. Like
Well,
that's the
700.
fancy version.
Yeah,
that is
700 horsepower.
the range topper here.
Well,
But
but they've done enough like special red eye whatevers that
Yeah.
that the regular version is now pedestrian.
pedestrian-ish. I mean,
No, I know it's not. But
it's kind of insane that people were poo-pooing 707 horsepower because this one's 800.
yeah,
Yeah, this is so what we have here is a mostly rear-wheel drive, occasionally all-wheel drive platform derived from early aughts Mercedes DNA. The front suspension is basically the same as the S-Class. So
pretty good starting point.
yeah, unequal length control arms. Most of the rest of it is an E-Class, which is a size smaller. 5-link rear end. Big anti-lock discs all around. Mostly four-door sedans. There was one wagon, which was the Magnum, which was only made for a few years early on because nobody buys station wagons, as we've discussed. But
People are dumb.
Agreed.
People that don't buy station wagons.
I've owned several, so yeah.
Yeah, no.
so it was launched in 2005 with the Dodge Magnum, which was the aforementioned station wagon,
Okay.
and the Chrysler 300, both of which are nameplates from the past. No fish or birds, but they are all resurrections of old nameplates. In 2006, it was joined by the Dodge Charger, which was a four-door sedan, styled to be a little more muscular and a little less ornate than the 300. And those were the three nameplates that really made it. They replaced the LH platform, which was the cab-forward cars, so the Intrepid, the Concorde,
Okay.
the Eagle Vision, which were super cool in the early 90s and rapidly became not cool at all. When launched, it had a choice. You had a choice of three engines, essentially. Everything had either a 4-speed or 5-speed automatic transmission. The 4-speed was a Chrysler TorqueFlite derivative. The 5-speed was a Mercedes NAG1, both good transmissions. The V6s could be had with a 4-speed. All the V8s early on had a 5-speed. The V6 options were a 2.7-liter V6 at 190 horsepower. Alex, you rented one once, and you probably don't even remember it, but I remember you telling me you rented one and it was garbage and you hated it. And that's because you got the one with the 2.7.
Well, it's
They're-
I don't know if I
spec.
rented it or drove it. It was a company car,
Yeah.
Pool kind of car, but yeah.
190 horsepower is not enough power to move a 4,200-pound car.
Yeah, that's
Having owned a mid-90s town car recently, I would agree.
yeah.
Most of the more pedestrian versions got the 3.5-liter V6, which is 250 horsepower. That's enough to get out of its own way. It's still not exciting or fast, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
My mom has a Challenger, very similar platform to this, slightly shrunken, but hers has the 3.5, and it's cromulent, I guess. It talks a big game because it's all covered in stripes, and then it runs a high 15, you know.
I'm kind of surprised that it's a high 15 because the Challenger's not any lighter, is it?
Maybe 100, 150 pounds.
Okay.
Not much. I think there's like an inch and a half
But
or
it's
2
still
inches of wheelbase out of it.
4,000 pounds and
It's
250
still
horsepower.
a chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And that is,
probably a 4-speed. Or is that one new enough to get one of the
You know,
5,
I
6,
don't
7,
know.
8s?
the 3.5 I think usually got the 5-speed, but I'm not positive. My mom's Challenger is not new enough to have the 8-speed, which comes later. You're getting ahead of us.
12.
In the Challenger, 11 or 12.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So we're not here for the V6.
of course not.
Alex is decidedly not here for the V6, and Jordan and I are only slightly less happy with
but-
V6s.
What? Huh?
I don't mind them. I just don't want them in a 4,000-pound car.
So the real business here was the you might remember the ad campaign. Yeah, it's got a Hemi. This was the first use of Chrysler's Hemi V8 in a car, not a
'cause
truck.
Truck was like 2 or 3 years
The truck
before.
got it in 2003.
Yeah. Oh, so barely before this.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 300 and the Magnum launched in 05, the Charger in 06, and immediately the Hemi was a big sales success because it was 345 horsepower.
This killed the Crown Vic.
Yeah.
You heard it here 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
I mean, it took a while to kill the Crown Vic because the Crown Vic limped along for another 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
There were a lot of
Because,
police
again,
stations
it was
that
just-
weren't willing to buy anything
Well,
else.
we'll get into that. Cops like the Charger, and they sold a lot of them, but if you're doing anything other than high-speed pursuit, they're not cramped, but compared to a Crown Vic, they're cramped.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you were really feeling your oats and wanted to drop, $45,000 or $50,000 in $2006, you could buy SRT8 versions of all three of these cars, which was a bored-out 6.1 liter Hemi, making 425 horsepower. They were a fairly high take rate. They were a lot of people bought them because they were good to drive. They looked cool compared to everything else that was out there at the time, especially. And they undercut your German performance V8 sedans by a solid 20 grand.
Yeah.
And they had very similar moves.
Well, and so at the time, 2005 would have been the 3-valve Mustang. So that was 315 horsepower, somewhere around there. Less than the Hemi version of these, or the 5.7 version. And then the SRT8 was like 100 horsepower more. So if you weren't like hung up on a sports car, you just wanted muscle, like this was pretty much it, I think.
I mean, it was...
For American options.
It definitely shaded. The Marauder wasn't being made anymore. The Impala
Right,
SS wasn't being made anymore.
Yeah.
The Chevy SS was still a good 10 years away.
The Impala at this point was front-wheel drive and had been for a while.
In 07, all-wheel drive became optional across the range.
Not on the SRT8, though, right?
Not on the SRT8, sorry, but you could get an RT with all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Or either the V6s. I think you might have only been able to get the 3.5 with all-wheel drive. In 08, the Magnum was killed off due to slow sales, so no more wagon. 2009, mild styling refresh. So how fast is it, you ask? I mean, I know you're thinking it.
How fast is it?
Thanks, Alex. The 2.7 cars I can't find a road test for because the cars
Nobody
were just
did.
like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
People were bored to sleep before the end of the quarter mile and just pulled over and slumped over the wheel.
The 3.5 was 60 in 7.5 seconds. Quarter, 15.7, 15.8. So respectable family sedan numbers.
Yeah.
The base Hemi car, 0 to 60 in 5.5 to 5.6. Quarter in 14 flat. The SRT cars, 5 flat to 60 and 13 flat to 13.2 in the quarter.
Not bad.
Fast. In 2009, the base Hemi was increased to 370 horsepower because, more is always better.
Yes.
Especially in Chrysler land.
Yeah. Eventually, they just found a way to put this thing in everything but the minivan.
Which is a real shame they didn't just figure
And the
that
journey. Was the journey around yet?
out. No, it was around and then
08,
no one.
09.
Yeah.
So it was there.
I was looking for like a Pacifica or Grand Caravan.
If they put the Hellcat motor in the Grand Caravan, I'd buy all of them. I'd buy one of them, and I'd wrap it around a telephone pole pretty quickly, I'm pretty sure.
Buy the next one if you were still able.
Yeah.
Get all the insurance.
So in 2011, they did a moderate refresh. It's considered a redesign. The cars all gained about 100 pounds. They got more updated looking, not necessarily better or worse, but the interiors got a lot nicer. The V6s were dropped and replaced with the Pentastar Corporate V6, 290 to 300 horsepower in the base model, which
it weighs
is enough to move a 4,000-pound car if you wail on it. The 5-speed auto was slowly replaced by the 8-speed ZF automatic in everything but the Charger Pursuit all-wheel drive. So the police cars were eventually the only all-wheel drive option, and they kept the 5-speed automatic right to the end of production in 23. In 2015, the Charger, but not the 300, got a cosmetic update that made it look a lot better. New front fascia, new taillights, better looking interior. The 300 got a better interior but kept the same cosmetics. So there were all kinds of different models of these available, and it was kind of hard to keep track of. So we're going to hit the high notes.
That's where I raised my eyebrows. Of course there were. That's why I can't keep track.
So the base cars, equipped with the 3.6 V6, you'd see the 300 Touring, the 300S, which was mostly V6s, but occasionally a V8, which was a sportier handling package on the 300, The Charger SXT and GT, which was not any faster. Yeah, I know. I don't know why. 290 to 300 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds, quarter in the high 14s. That's the V6 cars.
Okay.
The RT was again the 370 horsepower, 5.7 liter Hemi, 5.1, 5 flat to 60, 14 flat-ish in the quarter.
14 flat-ish.
Depending on the road test, anywhere
Yeah.
from 13.8 to 14.2.
Yeah.
Those are the same. Basically, any police car you see with a V8 is going to run similarly to an RT.
Okay.
So much faster, much faster than any CVPI. Similar to your Caprice PPV from those era.
CVPI, Crown Vic Police Interceptor.
Sorry. Yeah.
Just throwing that in there.
Get into the fancier stuff. The SRT8 still existed. It got in the second gen, it got a 470 horsepower, 6.4 liter Hemi, 0 to 60 in 4.3.
And this is all NA.
Naturally aspirated.
Yeah.
The Scat Pack, which was a Roadrunner-esque version. No all performance options, 6.4. But none of the fancy heated ventilated seats or radar cruise control and stuff that you got on the SRT8. 485 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.1. And then we get the daddy of them all, which is in 2015. They brought out the Hellcat. The Hellcat was a 6.2 liter Hemi with a 2.7 liter supercharger, a Roots blower on top of it, pushing, I think, 11 or 12 pounds of boost, and 707 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. In a car you could fit 5 adults in. 0 to 60, 3.4 seconds.
Oh, wow.
A top speed of 204 miles an hour.
And the price was like 52 grand, wasn't it?
It was like 58 to start.
Yeah.
And
Which to 2015, but even
even now, like the run out ones, they produced these until 2023. They finally killed them last year, and the Hellcat was I think it was still about $72,000. You're talking, yes, it's a lot more money than we've ever spent on cars, or probably ever will spend on cars.
Yeah.
But when the only thing that's going to pull up next to you at a stoplight is something that nobody's going to drive on a road with stoplights that might be able to keep up with you, it's impressive.
stock.
Stock. Okay. Yes.
I've just there's plenty of old Corvettes with turbos and whatnot that
Sure.
run around. But yes, as far as things you can purchase from a dealership with a warranty, it was quite the weapon.
Dodge eventually put that Hellcat engine, as I mentioned, in everything they could fit it in. They put it in the Challenger, and then at one point they even went nuts and built a demon version of the Challenger that was slightly over 1,000 horsepower. I think by the time it was finally done. Yeah,
Awesome.
that was an interesting one. It was they would sell you. There were numerous options on the option sheet that cost $1, like the passenger seat, and I don't remember. Like they'd sell you like I think a spare tire, but it was all optional because like if it didn't make the car faster, it's an option.
Okay.
And they'd sell you like a crate, right? That
It was the
drag
Demon
slicks.
crate.
Yeah.
You could buy slicks and factory equipped with the stuff in that Demon crate on a prepped drag strip. It would run in the 9s from the factory.
That is insane.
It changed the NHRA rulebook because the NHRA decided that they couldn't keep booting these guys off the track because it didn't come with a cage,
Right.
which you need at $9.99 or faster. And they decided, you know what? We'll move that down a notch to $8.99.
Well, and I think there's only it's only cars built after like 2015 or something.
There's some sort of
Yeah.
weasel words in there that basically just grandfather it.
Right.
Yeah, so if you show up with that or a Corvette with a supercharger on it or something, they'll just let you run. But if you show up with a 25-year-old Corvette with a bunch of engine mods, you're going to get kicked out.
Yeah. So, what's the downside, you ask?
What is the downside?
Well,
8 miles per gallon?
it's not great. The fuel mileage isn't great.
Okay.
The other downside basically is the stigma of every other dirtbag who owns a high-performance Charger or Challenger. These have a very high take rate amongst Utes, specifically the Utes who don't particularly want to obey traffic laws or like holding up traffic or street racing. Seems like every time you see some dumbass wrapped around a phone pole, it's a Scat Pack Charger.
If you don't buy a purple one, it's probably okay. That's the one to buy. I'm not saying it isn't,
Right.
but if you buy one that's black and you don't put black wheels on it and whatever.
So what you're saying is this car, like all of my favorite cars that I currently own, is best enjoyed while driving it like a complete ass.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean,
That's what I'm hearing from the demographic and the stereotype.
They're probably also like the non-ridiculous versions are well regarded as inexpensive long-distance cars
Yeah.
or company vehicles or whatever. Like if you want a car that's reasonably nice to be in and not horrendously expensive and also not German, this is one of your few options.
If
I
you
have
want a modern rear-wheel drive sedan that isn't German and requires German maintenance, this is kind of it. Because, yes, it's German DNA, but it's all in the stuff that doesn't require constant fiddling, like the suspension and the brakes. The engine is a mass-market American V8.
I was surprised. I mean, in retrospect, I'm not surprised by this, but when you mentioned that they were replacing the, what do they call it, the cab forward?
Yeah, the LH.
The LH
yeah.
platform. With this, they were going from a front-wheel drive platform back to rear-wheel drive, which was kind of unprecedented.
Still kind of is.
Yeah.
I think Mazda is slowly trying to
Yep.
be, but Mazda is trying to be a premium car company.
Okay.
And these, comparable to an Impala or what was Ford's, I guess a Taurus or 500, whatever it was when they came out, these were more expensive, but they were also more fun to drive and handled better.
Yeah,
and
generally more
were less
premium.
anonymous. Yeah, premium is kind of one of those loaded words, but it fits here.
Well,
you know?
even a base model 300 would have more cachet than any Taurus.
Yeah. Ever.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter that this 300 is the like cloth seats and no interior upgrades and V6 whatever, and this Taurus is an SHO with all the trimmings and is objectively more performance oriented and probably has better tech and features than the base model 300.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going here. The Chrysler still looks fancier to people not in the know.
I see.
I mean, it looks fancier to people in the know too. It is like people in the fun thing about sleepers is part of it is the brotherhood of seeing people who are like, I know what that is, and it's awesome.
Yes.
I remember I got stopped walking into McDonald's once when I had my Spirit RT, and a guy was like a guy in his minivan in the drive-thru line yells at me. He's like, "That's a rare bird you've got there." And I'm like, "Thanks." And I walked in and it was like 15 seconds and I come running back out. I'm like, "Oh my God, you know what it is?" And he's like, "I had one." And, it's stuff that, nobody ever sees. And that's fun. And it kind of leads me to what I really want here, which is I want either a Scat Pack or a Hellcat that I replace all the fancy diffusers and giant spoilers on with base model stuff, put the base model wheels on it, pop off all the badges, and yeah, that's what I'd really like to do with my life.
That'd be fun.
I don't know if you can fit base model wheels on the brakes.
I think 18's clear.
Okay. And
Yeah.
that's going to be base model on everything except for the cheapest one at this point.
Yeah, and they made so many of these cars in so many different configurations.
Yeah.
I've never seen one.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
So we need to make a list of all of the cars that Alex's eyes just gloss over.
That'd probably be funny to us.
There's a scene in Scrubs where they're talking about like where did so and so go, and somebody's like, she's right over there, and it's like, I don't see her, and I think it was I haven't seen that show in forever.
Elliot.
Says, hey, so and so, take off your engagement ring. And she does, and she just pops into the universe. Because apparently he can't see women who are engaged or married. They just disappear from his his universe forever, and that's just what I'm picturing with Alex. He's driving down the road, and it's like, oh, I bumped into something. It's just like a random Chrysler product from the last 15 years.
He hits it, knocks the Pinistar logo off. It's like, oh, there it is.
Pixelated blob. Junk Connoisseurs is sponsored in part by Food Enough. Food Enough is the meal kit company for folks who aren't too picky and really just need to eat, but can't be bothered to shop or plan meals in advance. Other meal kit companies employ chefs to curate menus of gourmet food. They send them to you, and you have to spend a bunch of time cooking. All this just to make a hungry feeling go away? At Food Enough, we realize not everyone wants that. Instead of chefs, we have a network of slackers in Crocs and bathrobes that come up with basic combinations of highly processed, food-like ingredients that you can order and eat when starvation is looming. So try out Food Enough today. Food Enough, for when gas station food will do, but you don't feel like driving all the way to the gas station.
So what about motorsports?
Not really a ton of sanctioned motorsports, although the Charger was the body Dodge used in NASCAR technically for several years, from like
Whatever that
05
means these
till
days.
well, they dropped out in I think 15 or 16. Dodge hasn't been running in NASCAR since then. Although I did like, it was a point of pride for me that like for a while they were the only one that was like, well, they're the only one who the Silhouette is also a V8 powered vehicle as opposed to
And rear wheel drive.
yeah, and then eventually they let Chevy run the Camaro and Ford run the Mustang.
Yeah,
and it's
which
like,
was
okay.
never really...
Yeah, it was never a NASCAR thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. But plenty of drag racing to be done and unsanctioned on-road motorsport.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the largest particular venue for this particular.
Yeah. A lot of tires turned into smoke and rubber pellets. You know.
Yep. The Australian way.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very Australian idiom of a vehicle. Like I don't know why they never sold them over there. Yeah.
I think you could probably import them. I know I've seen Chrysler products on some of the Australian YouTube shows I watch.
In like the 70s, like Chrysler was punching right along with Holden and Ford over there. Although the Chrysler product that they used was not usually a V8. They had a Hemi head inline 6 that made between 200 and 300 horsepower, depending on the trim you got it from the you could get a 300 horsepower straight 6 with two Webers and a lumpy idle.
Ford did the same thing. They kept doing straight
With
six
the Barra,
stuff.
yeah.
Well, like you could get a crossflow head on the small straight six that was sold in the U.S. of the 144, 170, 200, 250. So a lot of people for performance on those, like the 8 people in this country who wanted to do stuff with that engine, some of them would import heads from Australia to get the crossflow head. So yeah, that led to the Barra, and because I think that's technically the small straight 6 evolution, even though it's a huge motor.
It's big, but it's not. It's the original 144 series,
versus the
300 series.
The 240, 300 series that lasted in the U.S. until 96, I think. I don't know if GM kept going on straight 6 stuff. I know they did a bunch with the 90-degree V6. Like, you could get supercharged rear-wheel drive 3800 powered Commodores. Like, it was weird. Like,
that'd be cool.
Because that might have been the same time they were doing it was the end of the non-GM V8, so the Holden 304.
Right.
And you could do the supercharged 3800, which was literally the Buick motor, because the intake was like, I think they had to modify the firewall because the elbow for the supercharger was inside the firewall.
Yep.
And then the LS came out and they quit doing that. But it's more modern architecture and it fits better. It makes V8 noises. Why wouldn't you do that instead?
Yeah.
No. Australia, for being such a small market, has done so many weird and fun things related to cars. And they've seemed to really take into the let's turn burnouts into an actual motorsport.
That's what happens when you give convicts their own country and access to manufacturing.
Like 250 years ago, and they were escaping the British just like us. So, it worked out fine.
Welcome to Colonialism Talk with the
God.
Junk Connoisseurs.
Yeah, I don't...
We're talking geopolitics tonight,
Oh.
and as it relates to burnouts, Brodies, drawing 11s.
Not to be confused with bronies, which have nothing to do with burnouts, I hope.
Look, what you do on your other podcast is up to you, man. I ain't talking about no tiny horses. The only horses I care about are under the hood of a Dodge Charger.
Wow. It's very Brandist.
That's actually how I talk normally. I have to, like, physically modulate my voice to talk
Oh,
like this.
okay.
That's your natural voice.
My natural voice is basically just,
Sam Elliott.
yeah.
Well, it's funny because I until I met your father, I thought he talked just like that based on every story you ever told about him.
No, he talks
Come
like,
on, boy. What are you thinking?
No, he talks exactly like me, only a little slower. And not that much slower.
Well, you're perhaps too fast, so maybe it's the right speed.
Oh, no, I'm not saying I do it right.
So, yeah, these are cool. It was one of those. Dodge did this thing where they provided something interesting to the market because in the mid-aughts there wasn't a whole lot going on.
Sedan-wise.
Yeah. Well, like the Camaro had died a couple of years before.
It's true. Like, the Mustang was kind of... Like,
And the Mustang was good.
Yeah.
It was making progress. Nobody had hated the 3-valve motor yet because it hadn't started just collapsing on itself.
like a flying in a cupboard.
Okay. It hadn't gotten good because, frankly, the Mustang didn't get good, in my opinion, until
I
2011.
would say the 4.6 got good at some point.
No,
No,
it didn't. It got anvil reliable, and then it got a third valve and became much less reliable. And then the 4.6 disappeared, turned into the 5-liter, which is much better. Anyway, but no, it was really cool. That friend I was telling you about that had an M3, his dad bought an SRT8 Magnum, and I got to ride in it, and that was freaking cool. Yeah, and he was a very analytical person, so he's comparing it to like his M3 and stuff, and he's yeah, it's fun, like it's fast and straight line. But he was an autocrosser, so the girth was something he was
They're
concerned
big
about.
cars.
some people just can't take the girth.
Yeah. No, these are cool. I really like the redesign they did in, I don't know, 12
15.
with the cool taillights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Was it? Yeah.
LED headlights and the cool taillights.
Yeah.
The ones from like 11 to 14 they're neat. They're kind of, the Charger especially is kind of awkward.
Yes.
It got really good looking in 15. The 300 always looked good.
Yeah. It's
But
if you're looking for something of that like premium highfalutin style sedan, because it has a certain look about it. It's attractive, but I don't think I could. It's almost as if it were trying to be a discount Rolls Royce as far as styling, which is not a bad thing. It's just real luxury looking. And I understand that you can buy that car with gobs of horsepower and it's probably a very nice place to be. I have thought about buying a Charger though. Like the 15 Plus is real good looking.
So where this gets me and where I think it would eventually get our friend here is that Crown Vics are drying up.
Oh yes,
And we all like the 4-door American V8 sedan. And to me, a Charger Pursuit from 15 or 16 right now is the screaming deal in if you want a family sedan that hauls ass. Because if you can live with a column shifter, and if you drive a Crown Vic, you can live with a column shifter.
Yep.
You are looking at a 14-second family sedan that gets, 23, 24 miles per gallon on the highway, has American reliability in a good way. And,
It'll run poorly, better than most stuff will run.
there are a few things that are endemic
Or
here.
longer.
Especially with the the police cars that idle for thousands of hours, they wind up getting collapsed lifters, which is not an particularly expensive fix, but boy, it's a pain in the ass.
Because these are push rod, right?
Mm-hmm. They're a push rod.
Yeah.
The V8s are all push rod.
The Pentastar's not.
The upside to that is while you're in there, you put in the cam from a Scat Pack and you pick up 35 horsepower and a nice little low but idle. They had the same issues with displacement on demand that GM did, where occasionally, you'll wind up with catastrophic failures more often than not, though I think the displacement on demand is tied into the lifter failures because they don't get enough oil when they're not on, so to speak.
I assume
and if you're idling, it's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
turning cylinders off.
Right.
I assume the aftermarket has.
There are many
workaround.
fixes for this, for lifters that are improved oiling, for displacement on demand delete, just like GM does with the LS. But yeah, they are a phenomenal performance buy from an everyday performance standpoint, from something that is going to have decent handling for as big as it is. It's going to be able to haul whatever you want to put in it if it's 4 people. It's not a truck, but
Right.
they're a screaming deal right now, and they're cheap. I see $10,000 to buy a nice one from 7-8 years ago, which that seems like a lot back when you could pick up a nice Crown Vic for $3,000, but those days are gone, and
Right.
everything is basically twice as expensive as it was 5 years ago. It feels like so.
I wonder, have you checked what civilian models, like the premium for a similar miles?
$3,000 or $4,000 minimum is
Really?
the difference
Okay.
between a Pursuit and an RT.
Okay.
And in favor of which is
In favor of the Pursuit. The Pursuit
Is
is cheaper.
cheaper.
That's the police model. Again, you're giving up a few options and you're getting a column shift, and I think you get less snazzy dampers and slightly smaller anti-roll bars.
which
By
is
the
stuff
time
that
you-
can be changed
Yeah.
easily.
Well, by the time you get to $10,000, the dampers are probably in need of replacement anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And $4,000, I'm sure that these will, you can Lego whatever options you want into them relatively easily. So if you want ventilated seats or whatever, you just go find them and
Yeah.
probably have to program them. But unless you're looking for adaptive cruise control, it's probably all pretty easy to upgrade.
It is. Interior stuff is usually pretty easy to fix up and
Yeah.
make nice.
And who gives a crap about column shifter? That used to be a
It's
thing that
automatic.
I was like, oh yeah, it's automatic. You're not doing anything with it. You touch it one time and then you drive until you stop, and then you touch it one more time and you're done. It's not a manual.
In a drag racing situation, people use the shifter a little bit more, but I'm with you. There's no real
In an
street
8-speed
driving.
automatic, you're not using the shifter. You're not doing bump shifts. You're going to put it in
8-speed, yeah.
drive and hit the sport mode button and
It feels
never
like a
touch it again.
CVT, right?
Yeah. Well,
It doesn't go through
No.
all
Shift,
8
shift, shift, shift,
speeds.
shift.
it does
It goes,
shift a lot.
I think it goes through 3 or 4 on the way up. But the idea is whenever you need to downshift, you've got something that is
Just
ideal.
right.
And also, I think the top 3 are overdrive.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
are
and-
basically idling on the highway if it'll pull itself.
Well, with that much power, it probably will.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point the cam is just going to be in the non-power zone of 1,400 RPMs of you got to shift that power somewhere to get
Right.
a 475 horsepower NA motor, whatever the last 6.4 was.
485.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew I was in the ballpark.
Peaky is not the right word, but definitely, it
And
likes to rev.
And it is a 6.5 liter V8.
Yeah.
It's big, so there's
Yeah.
gonna be torque no matter what you do. Yeah, I don't. I highly doubt that doing manual shifting on any of these automatics, even the old 5-speed, is probably worth it.
Right.
At a certain point, you're not going to be able to shift fast enough to keep up.
That sounds right. Yeah, with an 8-speed particularly, and even the 5-speed automatic. I don't know. I've not done enough drag racing to say that. I could see a listener saying, "Whoa, what do you mean you don't touch the automatic shifter?" Sometimes they do.
Oh yeah, I get that. If you've got even something as new as like a GM 4L series transmission, even though maybe not, I don't know. That probably has more to do with shift logic and torque converter.
Yeah.
Whether or not you want to. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you have a turbo 350, you're going to do that. But this is a tad newer than that.
Yeah. Just a bit.
Yeah. I've done a lot of research on those ZF autos. Those are really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of different companies use them.
Yep.
They
Is
are
that what's
enormous.
Yeah.
It's a ZF 8-speed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which-
BMW uses them on a lot of stuff. Or at least they did. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's...
I think they still do.
Yeah.
BMW uses them. Chrysler uses them.
Those are the two big ones.
Those are the two big ones. But yeah,
The
you know,
8 HP.
an HP. Yeah.
And
I mean,
you can get it, and what's kind of wild to me is the same basic format has. So they rate the transmission capacity in, I think, Newton meters. So you can get a 8 HP 40E or something, and that's 400 Newton meters, which is, I don't know, like 250 foot-pounds of torque or something in that ballpark.
Right.
Or the same basic architecture, and I'm almost certainly at least partially wrong here, but it's still the 8 HP series of transmissions. Has a 95E version, which is the Hellcat transmission, and that's rated at 950 Newton meters, which is whatever, 800 foot-pounds or whatever enormous amount of power that this car makes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just neat. Like, one guy who I think listens, hi Gumby, is putting an 8 HP from a Chrysler behind a Barra. Some Swedish company, I think.
Koenigsegg.
No. I think this is them. I got it. Oh, yeah. Dommy Works Engineering, because it's funny. Anyway, they make engine adapters for all sorts of stuff to put a variety of transmissions behind engines, but the BMW and the Dodge versions are a lot of what they use. So, yeah. Donating parts to all sorts of weird builds. That engine package is going into a Daytona Coupe.
Oh yeah,
A Factory 5
Wow.
Daytona Coupe. So he's putting a turbo straight six Ford Barra engine with a Chrysler automatic in it.
He
in a Factory 5.
really doesn't care about
Cobra.
pissing anybody off, does he?
That thing is going to be so fast when it's done.
And it's a replica anyway.
Yeah.
So who cares? That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
But you know somebody's going to be offended.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Barra part's not going to... I think the Barra is gaining a lot of traction as far as the enthusiast community because they do make 1,000+ horsepower pretty...
Wow.
With relatively low input. Nothing. You do have to do work to them, but
Yeah.
they're very capable. And nobody cares about the transmission, I doubt.
Yeah.
So...
No.
I wonder if the Hellcat's at the bottom of its depreciation curve. I was just messing around on Kelly Blue Book, and it's like 27 right now. And
I
I'm like,
wouldn't be surprised. 2015. I think that the 10 to 15 year time period
Yeah.
is the bottom of the curve for all enthusiast vehicles.
might be time to buy and hold. And
Yeah, when you started this off with saying in, 10 or 15 years we could buy one for 15 grand, is that what you said?
okay, how would you like to buy a 370 horsepower family sedan for $8,000?
That is probably much more appealing.
Yeah.
to
Well, you
me.
can do that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is now you can find an early RT or a recent Pursuit for $8,000-9,000,
Yeah.
and yeah,
No, they're good buys. The interior is not quite as big as a Crown Vic, but for most people that's not a problem because we
Yeah.
don't wear
gun
police belts. Yeah,
Speak for yourself. You don't know what I do in my spare time.
I got a pretty good idea. Drink and do woodwork.
Accurate. Not in that order. Still got all my digis.
It's probably a good choice.
Not in that order. So, let's get to that part. Would you own one?
Yeah. I mean, I think we definitely know Alan would. You are going to, Alex.
Yeah,
because
I see this as like this is an eventual Alex.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It is foretold. I will own.
well,
Okay.
it's 2 out of 3 on the Alex trifecta, and it's inexpensive and readily available.
Certainly, I can't go. Well, any old Crown Vic. I like the old Crown Vics. They're neat. I say old. I like the new Crown Vics, the newest of the Crown Vics. But you can't find a very nice one now. What?
Yeah,
They've literally been out of production for 14 years.
I know
yeah.
exactly.
That's not new. Okay, it's new by your standards.
The newest of the Crown
Yeah,
Vics
yeah.
is what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's not a new Crown Vic and it's not an old Crown Vic. But yeah, I could see this is a replacement for that. I don't know. It's funny. I like the Crown Vics. I don't need a car that big, but they're fun. Yeah. So it's a foregone conclusion that I will own one. I must. I don't know anything about them. Nothing. I've never learned or heard anything about these.
Well, now you know at least a little bit.
No, I don't know.
Oh, it
anything
just
about
glossed
he's
right over.
willfully trying not to listen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't see it. You guys will have to start spamming me with them. So we saw Magnum, the wagon popped up, and was it a V8? Mm-hmm. Okay, a V8 wagon popped up on the local Facebook marketplace, and I couldn't be bothered at that, but it looked neat. I have to admit, but I had other things on my mind. Couldn't be bothered to message the guy, and if it was a real deal,
I think it was gone
before
yeah.
I could have gotten.
It was
there.
it was either a real deal or more ragged than the pics looked at,
Well.
and then probably wasn't a real deal.
104% more ragged than the pictures look like. I've learned enough about myself to know now that I'm always an optimist while looking at pictures on the internet.
Yeah. But it was like $1,500, wasn't it?
It was stupid cheap, but it had the collapsed lifter.
Right.
Needed a windshield.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't haggard, but it was like
What year was it?
It was like an 07, I think.
Okay.
See, when
I guess I only made those for a few years.
when I've looked at family vehicles, like when I bought my Saab, I considered a Magnum, and the thing that I was finding, the ones I was looking at, were already having interior issues, and that could be more of ownership trends than the quality of the product. Because the first person who bought it and spent $35,000 on it probably took reasonably good care of it.
Right.
The second person bought it because it was a station wagon and they had kids, so it got destroyed. And then the third person bought it and it got worse. And then I was looking at it and going, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And that's the one that's of the pre-15 models. That's the one that's the most visually interesting to me.
Yeah.
I would be half tempted at some point to buy somebody's Magnum project car that has a Hellcat in the engine bay, or at least like a 6.4, one of the newer Hemi engines, and needs like an ECU put on it, or that's like 75% done, and maybe they were something that has already had some of the like interior and exterior work done.
These get sold for bail money a lot.
That's where I was trying to come
I wasn't
up with a
going
way
to
to
say that out loud, but
I know why people.
Problem with those is the title is always an issue.
I know a guy.
yeah, you could.
I can't fix liens, but I
I
can.
was going to say
Yeah,
that's the
there's-
problem.
yeah.
Is they always have some.
They've always gotten a lien for bail money.
Somebody's going to get out of jail at some point. Be real mad somebody sold his car.
Yeah. So no, like if I was, I don't know what situation I would be in that I would want to purchase one of these specifically, but the thought of a V8 sedan is appealing. So if I could find one of the special versions, so anything above an RT is something I would consider buying and driving for a year or two and selling if I could get an okay deal on it and not lose a bunch of money. Just for the experience of having owned it. I've done that several times. So
It's not a bad way of looking at it.
because Alan is going to want to buy one of these to use as his primary vehicle, right?
Accurate.
Yeah. That's not why I would want to buy one, because at this point I
You just
feel the
wanna-
pain of putting V8 gas money into a car.
You just
You
want
have
to
a
have
longer
it
commute
for
than
a
I
little
do.
while.
I do. But like, yeah, I just I
You
would
want to have it for a little while.
yeah,
right?
yeah. If I could get
Experience it.
like an SRT anything or Scat Pack or even a Hellcat, which is highly unlikely, but for what I could park money in and then get most, if not all of it, back out the next year, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I see Alan's over here. He's playing with a
I'm playing
calculator.
with the values.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Hellcat's 27, what's the Scat Pack?
Get it into the high teens, maybe?
I'm thinking 2022, maybe.
Yeah.
2015 Scat Pack, 80,000 miles.
25?
It's the same price.
Yeah, that's...
What?
No, thanks.
We're getting the blower.
Yeah.
There's no downside other than,
3 mile per gallon less fuel economy.
I'd pay it for that noise.
Honestly, I bet if you keep your foot out of it, the gas mileage difference is minimal.
But that's a big if.
Right?
Like, how can you keep your foot out of the gas when
Yeah.
it goes like that?
That the blower on a Hellcat is the literal size of the engine in my minivan.
My uncle bought a Hellcat Charger when it was new, and I never got to drive it. He sold it already, but my dad did, and my dad's like, that thing, holy cow! Like he's like, my uncle was riding shotgun. He's like, now make sure it's pointed where you want to go when you hit the gas. My dad's like, yeah, I've driven fast cars before, Clinton, and my uncle's like, no, make sure it is pointed where you want to go because you're going to be there immediately. Yeah.
I suspect that is the most common car that will be like, oh, shit, that's triple digits. Like, that you can just, they got one of these on the lot. I'm going to go hop in and take it for a test drive like you did with the yellow M3. And some schmo kid who has no idea what it is other than, it's got purple stripes or whatever. I guess purple with black stripes is more likely. But it's like, yeah, you take it out. And you pull out a dealership in a giant cloud of smoke.
Triple digits. How fast in a Hellcat?
Okay, so 0 to 60 was
3.4.
normal roads is going to be high threes. Probably.
Sure.
We'll call it 4 because normal roads are really bad compared to a drag strip. I'm going to guess 7 seconds.
7.6 seconds.
Yeah, that's real
To
fast.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, especially because
Blows
more
my
than
mind.
likely you're not going to be at a standstill. You're going to be driving down the road doing 25 miles an hour and stab it. Transmission's going to drop 4 gears. And then you're just going to be driving 120 miles an hour through a school zone. Don't do that. It's bad.
Look, the faster I get through the school zone, the less likely I am to hit a kid who wanders into the road. It's simple physics, Jordan.
Right. Yes, I think I've seen that argument before.
Disclaimer: unprofessional driver in a school zone.
We're all idiots. Don't take any of our advice. No, that I've never known anybody who had a Hellcat. I've known some people who have RTs and stuff, but I've never had the opportunity to at least ride in one. I bet it's not wild at all until it is, and then you're going to be scared.
Wear your brown pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan's going to go start turning cushions over in his couch.
I'm still thinking BMWs from the last episode. I'm still kind of caught up on maybe someday thinking about one of those. I don't. You guys are probably right. I'll probably own one of these at some point.
I mean, I need Hellcat money. I'll sell you BMW real cheap.
You've not taken that piece of shit BMW out of your driveway.
Also, I don't know if the $800 you could get out of Alex for that, I'm not saying that's what it's worth, will help you get a Hellcat.
Every little bit helps.
I guess that's
Would
true.
clear up a spot,
That's the other thing is I could get into my other garage.
and that way
Sure.
you could get acorn hail damage on a Hellcat.
Park it inside.
I think he's going to have to get rid of a... Is there still a Miata in that
There's
space?
still a Miata in
Yeah.
there.
Now we're talking about
Yeah.
an $800 purchase I can get behind.
Yeah. That seems unlikely.
I bet
think?
you would.
You think? I was listening to another podcast today, and they were making fun of the murderer because he drove a Miata, like a 92 or 94 Miata. They're like, that's the ugly early round ones that look like an Apple mouse. And well, these guys aren't car guys, obviously.
not.
And they're like, it's a
Philistines.
teenage girl's car. I'm like, okay, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Murder podcast.
I have unsubscribed to podcasts for less reason.
Yeah. Good otherwise. Well, do we have anything else to talk about with whatever we're talking about tonight? The
it no longer
Charger.
exists.
The Charger and
It don't-
300 and Magnum
You really had an opportunity to make a joke about some Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Because those may actually stick in your head.
I've actually never been able to pick Mercedes out if it's not a 300D. Not saying that that's a good one. I'm just saying I don't really. I still don't know what I saw the other day. Whenever I was like, I saw this kind of cool looking, but it made glorious noises. Mercedes. That's all I know is the Mercedes. Still don't know what it was.
Were they V8 noises?
Yes. Oh yes.
Then it was probably some EMG thing. Because there's several of those running around town.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
And I will argue that Mercedes may be in the running for best sounding mass produced V8s.
Yeah.
Because because we're not going to
Like
include
with factory exhaust,
flat, plain, whatever.
Yeah.
But like an AMG product, they sound good.
Yeah.
The new ones are but you know, back in the old days of V8 supercharged, it's nice.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I guess we've explored what we're going to tonight on whatever we talked about. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at Junk Connoisseurs, our podcast page, or send us an email with feedback. What's going on with your projects, or what do you want to hear about? You can email us at junkconnisr@gmail.com. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
I switched to my RFI shielded pacemaker.
Oh, well, that's good. You don't want scammers attempting to pull your private information off your pacemaker.
Well, I just wrap tinfoil around my chest is all I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does increase my radar cross-section enough that I am then detectable to man-pad surface-to-air missiles, which is a little disturbing, but I don't fly through the air that much anymore.
I was going to say, that seems like not a much of a problem in
It's not bad around
rural
here.
Midwest.
That time when I lived in Kandahar for a while, it was like, this is dicey, guys.